So welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about how your childhood has basically formed pretty much all the beliefs that you have right now. Now, this could be a little bit, let's say, triggering for some people because not everyone had a happy and nurturing childhood. And unfortunately, actually, probably the vast majority of us had a less than perfect childhood. Now, the way that that impacts us as an adult is that by the repetition of what we learned in our childhood and what we experienced and what we basically learned from our parents or our guardians or significant adults, we took with us as subconscious programming into our adult lives. Now, that's things like, I'm not lovable enough. I don't deserve to be successful. I don't deserve to be loved. And that carries through, especially into relationships, that carries through into our adult lives. If you think back to your childhood, let's say you came from a home where your parents had to work really hard. Thinking about myself now, your parents had to go out to work and work pretty much all day, every day, perhaps not Sundays, but they were out at 8 o'clock in the morning and they didn't come home until tea time. And that meant that for myself, I came home from school, I think about 4 o'clock by the time the bus got home. Came home from school, quite often had to light the fire. Do I come from the Victorian era? No, but that's what it was like back in the 80s. Had to light the fire, sometimes had to make dinner, and my parents would get home after I got home from school. So I had to kind of look after myself when I got home from school from quite a young age. And then that meant that my parents in the evening were just knackered. They were tired. They didn't have any energy to play with a little person who had lots of energy and wanted to do lots of things. They didn't have the energy. I didn't understand that at the time, obviously, but looking back, I can sympathise with it now. So that meant that my ingrained belief, the thing that I grew up believing, was that you had to work hard to get anywhere in life. But my parents didn't get anywhere. There was no money. We were pretty poor. We couldn't afford to go on holiday, that kind of thing. I think we had 2 holidays to an auntie in my entire childhood. We couldn't afford the things that I saw the other kids having, but my parents were working all the time, harder and harder and harder, longer and longer hours for pretty much no return. And that's the belief that I took with me into my adult life. My adult life started with me thinking all I was going to do for the rest of my life is work, 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 so I can have a good time when I'm not feeling too tired, and go back to work and repeat the cycle over and over again. And man, I did that for a really long time before I realised how wrong that was. That's a very common limiting belief. Another limiting belief from childhood would be, for example, if you grew up in a family that just weren't very affectionate, that didn't like to hug and cuddle and say I love you and kiss and all that kind of thing. If you grew up in an environment like that, you're going to think that that's normal. You're going to think that not showing affection to other human beings is a normal course of a relationship. And believe me, it is not. You might also have used music, for example. Now, this speaks to my tribe hugely and to myself. You might have used music, specifically heavy metal, that's really common, to be your emotional crutch when you were a teenager because there was nobody there for you. There was no one to understand what you were going through. Your parents didn't understand, or maybe your parents weren't there, and you used metal as an emotional crutch. How many of us still do that in our adult life? When things are really bad, we hit the metal, or if things are really good, we often hit the metal because it's something that makes us feel emotionally safe. Think about it in terms of food. How many of us hit the chocolate bars, the crisps, the sweets, or even the booze when we've had a bad day? Why? Tell you why, because you've learnt that that's what makes you feel better. And we learn that quite often from a very young age. Hopefully not the booze, but definitely the food. It's that emotional crutch. We eat something, we get the hit of carbs or the hit of fat, which we are basically designed to really enjoy. Unfortunately, it's always the unhealthy stuff. But we get that and we feel better. And your brain thinks, she's feeling bad again. What did she do last time? Last time she had a bar of chocolate. That'll make her feel better. I'll tell her to eat a bar of chocolate. It's as simple as that. And we need to break that pattern. We need to break that self-sabotage in order to move forward in our lives, because our parents are not responsible for the way that we choose to feel now. You are responsible for how you choose to feel now. It is your choice. Now, I've had this argument with people who say, I can't choose how I feel. And what I say to that is utter bull. You can definitely choose how you should feel in any given moment. You can choose in any given moment how to react. This is a really good example. Let's say someone makes you angry, especially in British culture. If you're in the pub, you have an argument, someone knocks you, someone talks to your girlfriend and you don't like it, you have the choice whether to get up and punch the other person or to say, you know what, I'm just going to leave it and walk away. That's you choosing how to react. Emotions are no different. You can choose how to feel in any given moment. You can choose whether to decide to love yourself or whether to just keep thinking that you're not deserving and you're not good enough. It's your choice. Now, it's not going to happen just like that. Oh, I just decide to love myself now. You have to put the processes into practice to change that subconscious thinking. And I've got other videos on that, but it's breaking those patterns of self-doubt, it's breaking those patterns of self-sabotage, it's breaking those limiting beliefs that you picked up over years, it's rewiring your brain to think a different way. And you can choose to do that. You can choose not to self-sabotage. When it boils down to self-sabotage, because self-sabotage is basically just the knock-on effect from the limiting beliefs, you kick in with that sabotaging behaviour because of the limiting belief that you've decided to believe over the years. The key to that is to actually have a look and see what your self-sabotage patterns are. If you sit back and try and objectively look at what they are, then you're in a really great place to be able to address those and find out what to do about them. Now, often you can try and do that yourself. You can look through YouTube, you can find all the videos that will show you how to do that. But it's really a lot easier when you've got some kind of coaching, some kind of person who's helping you, asking the right questions, giving you the accountability and the guidance. It's just a much better way to do things. If you'd like to do that with me, you'll see my contact links below, or if you've got someone in mind that you would like to work with, go to them, but I really would recommend that. So analyse your self-sabotaging patterns. We do know them, we do know what we do. You know, when something happens and you go through the situation, you come out the other end, you think, oh, why do I always do that? That's that self-sabotaging pattern. Analyse that, write it down, look at the ways that you can change that. You can pivot it around to something more positive so that you don't self-sabotage next time, and you'll be well on the way to busting those limiting beliefs that you picked up from your childhood. You can decide not to believe that anymore. You're a grown-up. It's your decision. So, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button so that more metalheads can see this video and we can make the metal community happier and more abundant. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.